Only
Oh,
21 minutes late.
that yeah, the hackiness, and yeah, I think it was the anyway. I couldn't hear Josh, and I think it was a plugin that I have in Google Chrome. So,
Yeah.
but by the time we got that figured out, it was like, you know what, let's just start. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm on my iPad Pro.
Nice. Nice. Oh, is that a new purchase?
No, I've had it for a couple years.
Oh, really? Okay. That's like the
Yeah.
huge one, right? The
Now they have the. I think mine's an 11 inch,
Okay.
and then I think they have another one that's like bigger because I've seen a couple folks at church and stuff with them.
Nice. I
Anyway,
decided to get an iPhone Plus, iPhone 8 Plus. So I am officially in the big enormous phone camp. It's still kind of on probation, but I think I'm liking it. So
yeah, I have
probably
an
gonna keep up.
iPhone 6 Plus, and I'm pretty happy with the size. Of course,
Yeah, I mean
I
it's
kind of want a new phone now, but
I've got like small-ish hands, so it's definitely it's definitely clumsy to use. Like
hmm,
unfortunately, like the home button and all the navigation buttons are at the extremes, so that is super awkward. But um,
yeah,
overall, like I do so much reading on my phone. I read a lot of Kindle books on my phone because I got rid of my Kindle and I just have Kindle on the phone now, and
right.
it's really nice. It's actually kind of like approaching the size of a paperback book. It's a decent, it's a much better
Hmm.
experience. But
Yeah, I've done some Kindle reading on my iPad. I actually gave or sold my Kindle to my mom, and she doesn't use it now either. So,
yeah, I'm seriously considering, yeah, the single purpose devices. I really like the idea, but I just like having to have multiple devices to charge. And I never like, I mean, I like reading paper books too, but
hmm,
I'm always, reading in little snatches of time, and I've got my phone with me, and it's like standing in line somewhere or something, and I can read, but I'm not going to tote my Kindle around.
yeah, no, I hear
I'm
you there.
I'm seriously considering getting rid of my Apple Watch. So it started off pretty well. Like I when I was considering buying it, I had all these use cases for it, and I was like, okay, well,
Hmm.
I could use it. I can use it when I work out. I could because there's like metronome apps, and I use
Right.
that for my gymnastics workout. So I could use it when I work out. I can use it as like to when I with my workouts, I have videos that I start and stop. They're like follow along videos,
Uh-huh.
so I could use it with those. All the timers are really useful. And then in the latest iOS update, they literally so when I got the watch, I realized that at least half the things that I thought I could do with it, it didn't do. Like you can't use it as a metronome because as soon as you move your wrist, it goes to sleep, and the app goes to sleep. So you can't use it for that, right? So that was out the window. And so there were like half a dozen or more things that I thought I was going to be able to use it for. Apple Pay. I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, that would be very convenient to just be able to use Apple Pay." Well, I haven't been able to figure out the workflow for it to make it actually work. So I've tried it a few times and it's always ended in humiliation for me. So I've stopped even trying to do that.
Right.
Siri, like it's great to be able to summon Siri from your watch, but actually about half the time that doesn't work. And then like with the latest iOS update, latest watch update, they actually broke almost everything that I was using it for that was working. They broke. Like I can no longer start and stop the videos that I mentioned because they play them. I play them in the browser. You can't start and stop those.
Hmm.
Um, literally everything they changed. I was excited about the update, but literally everything they changed, I hate. I feel like it's worse than it was. So I'm at this point. I basically use it to tell time. Oh, and lately it's not even waking. The alarm's not even waking me up. So like I can't even trust it as a freaking watch alarm. Like the last 2 or 3 days, I've woken up well past when I usually want to get up and looked at my watch and like the little thing was up, but it didn't go like I didn't hear it and I didn't feel it vibrating. So um yeah, so like it's
That's
flaking out on
funny.
me there. Yeah, so I think I'm probably it's ridiculous. It's like now it's basically it tells time and I can use it to start and stop timers, but that's about it.
Dang.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna probably ditch it.
Yeah, mine is the Fitbit Blaze, and
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't purport to do all the things that the Apple Watch does, but I can start and stop music on my phone, and the alarms wake me up most of the time, but it just vibrates. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of nice. It does everything that I want it to. I had
yeah.
a Pebble Watch before, and I thought, oh, I'll make it do all these things, and I mean, they had apps for freaking everything, and when it came right down to it, I only used it for like 4 or 5 things, and so
Yeah. Yep.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, technology, right?
Yes. I know.
So how are things going in Joshland?
Oh, pretty good. So, yeah, a couple interesting things. So, the first thing is, so I had a really interesting experience in the last. So this was actually last weekend that this happened. I don't think I talked about this, but um, in oh no, I think I started. I think I mentioned this on one of our previous calls. But
Mm-hmm.
so the health insurance thing, right? So it's open enrollment,
Mm-hmm.
um, and so the rates came out. So I had gotten a notice from my insurance company that my rate was going from $820 to 11, like basically $1,300.
Right.
So like almost 40%, 40 to 50% increase.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. And this is all for a crappy silver plan where we had a huge deductible, $7,000 family deductible. So then the rates actually came out, and it was even worse than they said. So it was actually for our plan. I think for our current plan went from basically doubled. I think it went to like $1,500 or $1,600 from
Uh-huh.
820. And then the next plan, then if I go down to the bronze plan, um, the cheapest bronze plan is $950. So that's still an increase of a couple $100 over one, or like $150 over what I'm paying now, and my deductible goes from $7,000 to $15,000.
Oh, lucky
So
you.
yeah, I know. So it's like John's plan. I'm so jealous. He's paying like $250 a month, and he's got he would have better coverage than this bronze plan that would be costing me almost 1,000. It would cost me
Uh-huh.
1,000 if I threw in dental. Um, so I'm like, okay, screw this. This is not gonna work. I want off the merry-go-round. So John had said he got his plan through the National Association of Self-Employed,
Mm-hmm.
NASC.org. So I went there, filled out the form, and I got a call from a lady um, who said that she's said that she works with a company that sells private. She called it
Mm-hmm.
private insurance. So it's not Obamacare compliant, but they're able to, because they're not selling on the exchanges. They're able to offer lower rates, and they're just a lot more
Right.
selective. Like you have to be super healthy to get in and everything. So I was very excited about this, but she was a little vague on the details. So I said, okay, well, um, so so she wanted to schedule a call with me. All right, so she wanted to schedule like a webinar type call where she was going to go over everything, and she wanted my wife there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so right away I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be some kind of like high pressure sales thing, because the purpose of having my wife there is so that she has both decision makers, and I can't, like, I'm looking at this from like a marketing perspective, right?
Yeah, she can push the wife buttons, the
She
security
can put
buttons.
she can push the security buttons, and also she's got both decision makers sitting there, so she doesn't have to. I can't go. Oh, I need to go talk to my wife,
Uh-huh.
which is a very common stalling tactic. You always want to get the decision makers in the room,
I just
and let's be honest, the wife is the decision maker a lot of times in this type of situation.
right.
So we scheduled a call. This was like last Wednesday, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I guess this was last Wednesday because I didn't get to talk about it last week. But no, it was last Saturday. So we scheduled a call. It ended up being like a 2-hour long call, and I basically I it was very interesting the way that the plan was put together. It was like it was she presented it as being very different from regular insurance because you didn't have a deductible.
Right. Oh
And
wait, what?
you didn't have, yeah, don't have a deductible. So what happens is they have set amounts that they'll pay for any given thing, and then you would pay part of what's left over. So kind of like your
Right.
deductible ends up getting put on the back end instead of the front end, which
Uh-huh.
seems attractive because you figure that like in most cases their cushion will be enough, right?
Right.
And then so you had to join, like to do this, you had to join this association, and the association would provide some of the coverage, and then there was another company that would provide the health coverage, and it was like kind of a big, it was like a big matrix where you'd like check off what you wanted, and you could kind of piece together your own coverage. It was like, it was very complex. So she spent about 2 hours with us, walking us through all
Oh
of
my
it
gosh.
and configuring it, and like she had this big long PDF that she walked us through. And yeah, and so we get to the end, and I was like, I told Lisa going into it, I was like, she's not going to close this. Like, I'm gonna, because I don't know what she's going to be presenting. I'm not making a decision on the call. So basically, at the end of the call, I said, well, this sounds. Oh yeah, I said this sounds fantastic. It was basically, it came out to like $750 a month, no deductible. And like just better physician network, like this PPO network for EPO, which we have now. So it's like, and it would cover out of state, which my current plan doesn't even really cover me out of state. So it's like all around just so much better. I said, this sounds fantastic, but I need to do I want to do my due diligence before.
Right.
During the call, I just had this voice, and I heard this voice that said, due diligence. And so I was like, okay, it sounds great. I'm going to check this. I want to check this out. All right. So I sit down, I carved out like an hour, and I was like, all right, I'm going to research this company. So I started with the association, Googled the association, went to their homepage, looked at their Alexa ranking. They were like 11, their Alexa ranking was like 11 million something. All right. My tiny little blog that gets like 500 or 5,000 page views a month is ranked like 300K. So new rule of thumb for me is never buy insurance from somebody who has a smaller Alexa ranking than you do. So there was basically no footprint on the internet from the company that was supposed to be offering the health insurance coverage.
Oh wow.
And I was like, So, when you Google something and the first 3 hits are all like from their website, and they all end in the page names end in .html, and
.html.
Yeah. And not only that, then like the number 4 hit is like a Better Business Bureau thing that was not like really not really bad, but also not good. And then so I kept peeling back the onion here. And so I looked up the parent association, and it was the same deal. Like their Alexa ranking was a little better, but that they were almost non-existent on the internet. And then I found that they had 189 reviews on Google, and they were all, literally every single one was either 5-star or 1-star. And the 5-star ones were like, this is the best company to work at. I love working here. This is amazing.
Oh no.
And the 1-stars are like, they ripped me off. They didn't pay my medical bills. So basically, I figured out pretty quickly that this entire thing is a scam. Like, it's not. I think there's like some level of legitimacy to it, but basically, there must be so many loopholes that you can drive a Mack truck through, that they basically just take thousands of dollars from people, and and then so it was. So once I realized that, then I went back and replayed the whole thing in my head, and it was remarkable the way, like, what felt like a very long and disjointed presentation was actually pretty well scripted out. So the first thing she did when we got on the call was she showed us her insurance license. All right, like, what legitimate insurance agent have you ever sat down with that the first thing that he did was show you his insurance license, right?
That's never happened to me.
No, me neither. So my dad sold insurance, and I'm sure in 30 plus years of selling insurance, he never showed anyone his license.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was like a, credibility and trust thing right there. And then, it was so funny because she was using subtle, like, us versus them type of language on Obamacare, because she knows, like, small business people tend to hate Obamacare.
Right.
And she spent the first 20 minutes, she punched in all of our information into healthcare.gov and spent 20 minutes agitating us about how expensive the Obamacare plans are and how bad the coverage is. So and then there were just so many, like, persuasion elements in the whole thing. It was really, really, and then, like, her putting Lisa on the call, she constantly was bringing Lisa in and saying, doesn't that sound great, Lisa? Do your kids do this? Do your kids do that? Like, really trying to bring her into the whole thing. And but yeah, and the other thing that was hilarious was that all of the organizations, and, like, there were, like, all these different parts of the presentation that talked about organizations and groups, and they were all named things that would be like hot buttons for red state people, right? Like, so, like, the freedom, the American freedom, blah blah blah, patriot thing. Like, it was like, and so it was so well constructed to basically prey on somebody who's just completely pissed off about Obamacare. And actually, like, they kind of come out and say that you will be out of compliance with Obamacare, and that, for me, that's actually a selling point, right? Like,
Yeah.
I want to opt out of this whole system, and, like, they can go do
Burn it
whatever
to the
they
ground.
want.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was, like, actually a selling point. But yeah, it was really, really interesting the way it was all put. Oh, so then I email her and I'm like, hey, I need, I'm like, I'm doing my due diligence here. I didn't really show all my cards, but I'm like, can you send me 3 positive reviews of this insurance? And she sends me to their Better Business Bureau listing, which, I'm not kidding. Like, it says A-, okay? But then, so there's, like, an A-, which just alone is not so bad. But then it says, this company is not accredited by the Better Business Bureau. And then it has 4 negative reviews, and there was something else too. Like, basically, it was like there were, like, 4 bad things on this page and 1 good thing, and this is the best that she could send me. So I was like, okay, yeah. I'm like, sorry, we're not doing this. Not moving forward on this one. Yeah. So I was very, very disappointed, but I was also glad to not get pulled in by it. It was. It was reasonably, the way it was set up was pretty plausible. What really tripped my alarm bells was that what I was expecting was that she would sit us down and have, like, all right, here are 5 different companies, here are 5 different insurance plans. These are some options for you. And, like, I was expecting her to be more of a broker or something, and she ended up being, basically just a salesperson for this one thing that I'd never heard of. And that was really what pushed me over the edge, was that I'd never heard of it. So it sounded like it was sort of like it sort of sounded too good to be true, but not really, because I think it's the type of thing that would have been available probably 5 or 8 years ago.
Right.
So it was plausible that by working outside of the existing system that you could get something like this. So, but not the case. So I think basically our choices are that bronze plan, or some kind of Medi-Share program. And I'm going to look very heavily at the Medi-Share thing, because it's gotten so high, and the premiums are so. I was talking to somebody this week that their deductible, they were paying $1,500 this year, and their deductible was $40,000. Like,
yeah,
what? What?
Basically, what you're paying for is, if you get cancer, it won't completely kill you off.
Yeah, exactly.
Financially.
Yeah, you only have to file partial bankruptcy.
But even then, it's I don't know. I mean, you could have bought a plan that would have done that for you with a $10,000 deductible
That's what
for
John had.
$200 or $300 a month, you
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
before Obamacare. So
Yes. That's what I want is um what I want is a plan. Yeah. So I started a bit of a ruckus on a forum that I private forum that I belong to. I
hmm
asked about this, and I was like, yeah, basically my frustration is that I view insurance as insurance, and like it should be again prevention of catastrophic loss.
right.
And most people use it like it would be like if your homeowner's insurance, like every time you had a light bulb burn out in your house, you filed a homeowner's insurance claim. Like
Right.
it's ridiculous the way that people use their insurance. And somebody replied and they're like, well, yeah, but at least now if you lose your insurance, you know, because you get unemployed or something. Well, for one thing, this is like a forum full of self-employed people. But
Right.
at least if you lose your insurance because you become unemployed, then you won't have to and you get diabetes or you get cancer or something, you won't have to file bankruptcy. And I'm like, well, for one thing, that happens now anyway. Like people do have to file bankruptcy.
hmm
Um, and like you're not gonna like nobody was just dying. Like they weren't allowing people to just die. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people where my wife, like my wife's uncle, had kidney failure, and you know he didn't have insurance, and the hospital admitted him, and he worked his way through, he paid off a $40,000. You know, took him a while, but he worked it
Yeah.
out with the hospital and he paid it off. And like so it's not, you know, it's not like I don't think this was happening. Basically, now everyone is being put in that situation.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I know people that are frustrated because they have an Obamacare plan, but they can either afford to pay the insurance premium or they can afford to pay the deductible, but not both. And
right,
so they wind up trying not to use their medical coverage at all.
right,
And
yeah,
then they start
exactly,
getting frustrated because it's, well, then why the heck do I even have this?
right.
And the
Yeah,
answer is,
exactly.
I don't know
Yeah,
why you have it,
no, I
right?
know. Like yeah, the average person doesn't even like. I think 80% of people don't even have $1,000 in the bank saved.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can't afford, like you can't afford anything to come up like that. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm
It's
just really grateful. I guess I'm really grateful that I have the ability and the skills to out earn this insanity, because that's really the only
yeah,
solution.
it's true. I
You
mean, I'm
can't,
kind of in the same boat, so
yeah. So I mean, I think in a couple, like for right now, where I am right now, this really hurts. Like
hmm
this is kind of a kick below the belt.
right.
But you know, in a couple years, I don't think it will matter at all. So I'm kind of looking at it as like I'm gonna possibly do the MetaShare thing. If I could get that for around, you know, $500 or $700, and I felt like it was reasonable. I've talked to some people who've done it, and they've, you know, it's weird because there's no guarantee. It's kind of like it's risky because there's really no guarantee
Yeah.
legally. But it's these companies. Some of them have been around for 30, 40 years, and you know it's like a handshake, and so you really have to trust them.
hmm
But I don't honestly don't really feel like I trust my insurance all that much anyway. You know, like I mean, it's not like the insurance companies are just known for being, you know, if we came up with a $200,000 bill, I'm sure there would probably be a little pushback from the insurance company.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I,
they'll deny you the first time and make you jump through the hoops.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
yep. So I don't know. But anyway, I avoided getting roped in by that, and that was I thought I would share that because it might be helpful for somebody out there.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully somebody who's looking at
um,
this stuff, yeah, doesn't get roped in.
yeah. So yeah, I'm probably gonna go with the, I don't know. I'm about 50-50 between the MetaShare and the bronze. So, but,
hmm
um, but so that was fun. And then so another thing that happened this week is, well, I think I've talked, like our product sales have just been down
Uh-huh.
basically for the last 2 or 3 months, and we haven't really been able to figure out why. And I'd kind of like decided that the problem was that we weren't publishing the book chapters anymore, so we weren't getting kind of like this viral super responsive traffic anymore. And that this was like the new normal for us. So I just needed to kind of suck it up and get over it. Well, this week I had, we're in Perry Marshall's roundtable this year, like
right.
My mastermind group. And so I had a consult with him, and I mentioned the product sales issue in passing. And then he kind of pushed back and was like, well, I don't think you're explaining that adequately. And so I was like, okay. So we totally rabbit trailed, and we dug into that. And it turns out that, so I was able to track it back to a specific week in July where it looks like things kind of basically fell off a table. It was like we were chugging along, and then boom, and we dropped, which it was basically right after the book launch. And so I'd figured that out before, but this time I realized, okay, why don't I look at the conversion percentage for the site as a whole? So email signups, because our email, basically what happened was our email signups dropped off by about 25%, and our revenue dropped by about 25%. Yeah, we went from like 5,000 to 6,000 a month down to around 4,000, or 3,500 to 4,000. So it was a pretty big hit. And so I dug in. So I was like, okay, well, I looked at the site wide. When I looked at the percentage, the conversion rate of the site as a whole, I noticed that we dropped from 3% to 2%. Well, that roughly corresponds to the revenue drop and the number of subscribers. So I dug into that some more, and I realized that right around that time, we had been sending all the traffic that was landing on the book landing pages, so all the blog posts that John wrote as book chapters, all those were offering an opt-in that was like, get the book for free. And when we launched the book, I switched that so that all the traffic was getting driven to the landing page that we created, where people could read about the book and then buy it on Amazon.
Right.
So, well, turns out that was a mistake. So the book is, we're running Facebook ads right now for the book, like get the book for free by email, and it converts really, really well. So it's basically that offer converts better than our other pop-ups. And I basically took all that traffic away and put up a lower performing offer. So I'm currently testing. I created a couple pop-ups that we're testing where we're offering the book for free, get the book by email, instead of our current lead magnet, which is the 5 Learning Mistakes course. And it's beating it by about 500%.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So we'll see. We're going to let it run. Now, there's always a big, so this is another good FYI. Whenever you start a new A/B test like this, there's always a big pop of like people that go, oh, I've been coming to this website for a month and I've not seen this before. So you get a bunch of new signups from it. And then it kind of levels off over time. So you have to kind of let it run for at least a week or two to really start to get an accurate picture. But right now, I mean, it looks like it's probably going to destroy our other lead magnets. So, I'm probably going to switch us over to just promoting the book. And I had another brainstorm. So I've been wanting to test. So I've been wanting to do a thing where I test like 10 or 20 different lead magnets on our site and see which one's going to perform the best.
Right.
That is a real pain in the butt, because you have to set up the delivery. Like the mechanics of doing that is a royal pain in the butt, because you've got to have the infrastructure in place to deliver like whatever the lead magnet is. You've got to basically set up 20 different little funnels.
Right.
What I realized is that we've got the book, we have all these blog posts that are book chapters. So I pulled a list of the top 50 most popular blog posts that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through and I go, okay, which of these would make a good lead magnet? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that content, package it into just a gigantic lead magnet that has all this different stuff in it. And then I can just pitch different pieces of it. So like I'll put up a pop-up that's like, get the top 20 books you need to read as a software developer. Okay. But that'll just be part of this big zip file. And that way I only have to set up, I can test 20 different things, but I only have to set up one delivery system. And
but then I don't know. I mean, if somebody's interested in A, Q, and F, and they know that they're all in that zip that they downloaded, aren't you not going to get that feedback then?
They won't. They won't. I don't think so, because like there's enough, like most of the traffic, like 70% of our traffic is like fresh. So there will be there will be a little bit of overlap. What you're saying.
I see.
Probably most people won't even open the zip file though. That's the thing. Like probably 90 to 95% of people won't even open the zip file.
Your faith in people is about where mine is.
Yeah, no, I'm dead serious. Like that's just how it works.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just how it works. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna test 20 different offers, because with a pop-up like this, basically like testing headlines is pretty much worthless. You can because you're offering, like, you have 2 seconds. You have 2 seconds to make an impression on them, right? So and there's certain things you have to convey. You have to say like, here's what I'm offering you. Here's how you get it. And here, kind of like, here's what you expect. You've got 2 seconds to do that. So you're not going to have a lot of creativity. You're not going to be able to play around a lot with copy.
Right.
So the offer itself is like paramount. And so you need to be able to test a bunch of different offers. And so what we're going to do though is we're going to test like 20 different offers, figure out which one performs the best across the site, or which few, and then we're going to basically build a sales funnel behind it. So like if it's like how to get started, like if John's like how to get started as in your software development career outperforms everything else by like 300%, then we're just going to build a course behind that lead magnet basically.
Yep.
What we have now is I've been trying to take our existing products and figure out how to present an angle on them that's going to be a good lead magnet, but also lead into a sales funnel. And that's it's worked fairly well, but I think we can do a lot better long term if we've got optimized for lead capture on the front end, and then build whatever products would make the most sense to go behind whatever's working the best for us. So
yeah, that's kind of the direction that I think I'd like to go in, is doing exactly what you just described. And so I'll just put together, because I mean, if I spend a day or a half a day on a cheat sheet or something that somebody can download, and then I can put it out there and see what the response is, then I can start segmenting my list and making the other stuff work.
Right.
So
yeah. So for me, what I'm trying to do is like figure out, I've been wanting to test a bunch of different stuff without having to spend a day or 2 or 3 days to create a cheat sheet, because that's just it really slows things down. I wanted to. So if you've got like in your case, you could do the same thing with like podcasts and podcast transcripts and stuff, where you could just take content that I would like, because you don't know it's going to work, and testing 20 things, you're going to find something probably that's like exponentially better than everything else. So, and it's probably going to be hard for you to guess what that is. So minimal effort up front, find the offer that converts the best, and then really like invest a lot into making that kind of, you have to overpromise initially, almost to figure out what's going to work, and then really invest in it when you find the winner to make it like spectacular. That's approach, and I'm going to take with this. So
makes sense.
Yeah. So hopefully, we'll see. So we're running that test now, and it seems like it's doing really well. So it'll take a couple a few weeks probably to see if it's going to have an impact on our revenue, but I'm very optimistic at this point.
Awesome. Well, when you're rich, remember me.
I mean, if we can get, I'm setting my number one goal is to get our site-wide like conversion rate. Right now it's like to get it above 4%, and then I'd like to hit 5%. Those are just made up numbers, but we were at like 3 to 4%, and now we're at 2. So I know I can at least get us back to where we were. But that's going to be like my number one focus for the short term.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I think you can do it. I mean, once you figured out what the issue is, it seems pretty straightforward.
Yep, just a matter of testing things, kind of mechanical at that point. So,
yep.
How about you? What's new in your world?
Man. Well, I just feel like I keep getting stuck, and I don't know. I mean, I've been fighting with the whole car issue this week because I got rear-ended last
Wednesday. Yes, you're still getting that repaired.
Yeah, so I've been on the phone with Geico off and on all week, and then.
But you have insurance. Won't they just pay for that? Sorry. Just a little cynicism.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was funny because I talked to the adjuster like 2 or 3 times. They might wind up totaling our car.
Oh man.
I guess one of the panels on the back is damaged, and if they can repair it, then it's not a total loss. But if they have to replace it, then it probably is with all the other damage to the car. So anyway, so yeah, I'm probably going to wind up calling them this afternoon just to see what's going on. But my wife freaking hates our car, so she's hoping they call it a total loss so we can get a new one. And then, but yeah, so it's that. And then I've figured out that there were some issues with the RSS feeds for the podcasts because our listenership had dipped a little bit.
Oh no.
And so I went and fixed those. And so now I'm emailing people back and saying, hey, I figured it out. Of course, one of the issues is, I guess, Android 7.0 has an SSL bug in it. And so it won't accept the certificate that I have on the RSS feeds.
Oh, nice.
And so people can't even, get new episodes.
We had an issue with that when I was at Trackabout with our when we were building the Android smartphone app, where we were having trouble talking to our API, like the
Yeah, you have to downgrade the encryption, but all the examples are for Nginx 1 or 2.10 or 1.10 or something like that. And I have 1.6 running on the server, and I installed it with Fusion Passenger for Ruby on Rails. And so upgrading it is kind of a non-starter. So I'll have to switch the whole thing over to Puma and then upgrade Nginx.
Nice.
And so that'll probably take me an hour or so. But I really wanted to get this sponsorship system just finished. And you can create the creatives now, so you can add in the banners and the ad reads and all that crap. And that all works. And so I changed the way I had to refactor a bunch of stuff to make it work with the episodes. So at this point now, I just need to set things up so you can assign them to the episodes and then figure out what to do with them when people buy them, right? So I just need to add a sponsor ID to the episode. So anyway, all of that being said, I'm probably a few hours from having that done. And then I have to do, I need to do all the outreach for that. And I've got a couple of people who paid for remote conferences that I forgot to take down, that I set up at the beginning of the year. And so several of them are totally fine with going with a Dev Summit All Access Pass for some of the upcoming conferences. But I don't have the websites up for them yet. And so they're bugging me about that. So I'm trying to set that up. And the way that I had those websites set up for the last two had a few issues. So I got a new conference theme for WordPress, but it turns out that you have to do a bit of work to get that all set up. So I may not sleep tonight. I mean, I don't know. The thing is, though, is like if I get the sponsorship stuff handled, then it's handled.
Mhm.
It's done, right? If I can get the website set up for one of these conferences, then I kind of just know what to do for the other one.
Right.
Um,
Is the urgency on that just around the people paying? Like the
yeah.
people that could
Well, and I
you
need to start lining up speakers as well.
right.
But I think I had lined up speakers before I have a website up. It just makes it easier if I have a
Yeah.
website up.
Yeah.
I actually listed a job position on the local classifieds website. So we'll see how that works out as far as who I can hire. So anyway, I just and all this stuff I would have had plenty of time to do this week if I hadn't had to deal with all of the other things coming up. And so I'm frustrated about that. Next week will be more and less stuff just because I'm going to New York for Microsoft Connect. So the upside of that is that I'm probably going to come away 5 or 6 episodes ahead for JavaScript Jabber.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And I can probably shunt 1 or 2 of those over to Adventures in Angular. And then, so that sets me up nicely that way. But yeah, that was another thing that I had on my list this week was to line up more guests. And I go to work on, I just feel like I go to work on one thing and then I find another thing that's more urgent. And so I go to work on that and I find another thing that's more urgent.
Yeah.
So anyway, but today, and then I was sick yesterday too. I'm still a little bit sick. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but it's not terrible.
I cannot. I've been battling something all week. So
yeah. I had some sinus pressure yesterday. It's not that bad today. But yeah, so it just, I don't know. I don't know what else to do because, I mean, it's just one thing after the other. And then my wife keeps, well, we have to deal with this and we have to deal with that and we have to deal with this other thing. And I'm like, I can't take on another thing right now. I just don't have the bandwidth for it. Like she wants to go clean up the yard tomorrow. And, because our yard's kind of a mess, and I've been planning on just pulling things together in the spring for that. I have some plans for that, but it was my way of not doing it now was part of it.
yeah.
Is, what? It's getting cold. It's going to look crappy anyway. But she wants to do that tomorrow. And then she had like 2 or 3 other things. She's hoping the car's totaled. So she went and actually spent a couple hours looking at cars online, listed on cars.com or something. And I looked at her and I said, you realize that you're looking at, used car dealerships, right? I said, private sale is, you can usually get a better deal. And she got mad at me. And anyway, so, and it's like, look, I don't even want to think about this until I have to, right?
Right. Yeah.
So until they call me up and say, the car's totaled, here's what you're going to get, right?
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean. I get that way too, where it's like that's step 2. We're on step 1. Please don't make me think about step 2 right now. Just can't.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at her or anything, but it's just I have so many other things that I'm juggling, and that I feel like you're just throwing more crap at me, and I can't catch it all.
Right.
And then when I drop it on the floor, then I'm in trouble. So.
Right. Well, okay. I mean, so. Couple things.
Need to just sit down and make a list of all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then prioritize it, and then just be okay with whatever falls on the ground.
The yard thing, you could probably make that go away for $30. Like, of all the things that you've ever tried to outsource, that would probably be the easiest thing.
That's probably true.
Probably hire somebody. I mean, you've got a church, right? So I'm sure there's a few teenagers in the church.
There are a bunch of teenagers.
Just like get like 2 or 3 of them and say, hey, like I'll pay you $50 to come just, clean the yard. Because that's a lot of this other stuff that we try to, in our businesses is really hard to outsource.
Yeah.
But that's really, really easy.
That's
So
true. And I could probably post on Facebook today and have it just go away tomorrow.
Yeah. Like, come have fun at Chuck's house. We'll do pizza and I'll pay you $20 and it'll take you an hour. And you have a mob of teenagers to send on your house. And it probably looks better than what it would look if you did it yourself anyway. Because
well, she wants to make the kids do it, but the kids are no help. Sorry. I mean, I have an 11-year-old and he'll help for an hour or so, but that's
still a little young. They need to be herd on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that would be, and then like the only other thought I had would be there might be some other things you could do with some of the stuff, like the
well, if I can hire somebody, I can outsource a lot of this.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's a longer term thing. Like for the conference thing, throw up a Google Doc with like a list of topics or whatever. Like basically take the content you're gonna put on the website, stick it in a Google Doc, and use that for now. Figure out, and then like the people that you need to have pay you, just like send them a PayPal invoice or something stupid like that.
That's
and just
true.
Get the urgency off you, because like you're in the tyranny of the urgent right now. So anything you can do to like to make some of that stuff go away, you're gonna have time for it later. It's not the problem's not time. It's just that that you've got 10 things that you need, and you have bandwidth for 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, well, the other thing is like if I got the website set up and gave people a link to go buy stuff on, Monday or Tuesday, they'd be fine with it.
Could you just set up? Yeah, exactly. Could you just set up the maybe you just set up
the billing?
The billing. Yeah, just set up just set up the payment page. You don't need the whole.
That's 10 minutes.
Yeah, just set that up, and then everything else can just be.
Yeah, just let them know, hey, it's a work in progress. I don't have speakers listed yet.
Yep. Yeah, just collect the money, because that's really all you need at this point.
Well, and it's not even for people who want to pay for it, right? It's people who have already paid for a conference that didn't get it. And so, I'm basically working for money that I already got and spent.
Oh yeah. So is it just like you're gonna give them like 100% off coupon?
Yeah.
Essentially. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Just the fast, like even if it's just like if it's a spreadsheet or something, just capture whatever information you need, and then you can punch it in later when you get the website up. If they don't have to pay you even.
Yeah, I've also been looking at using like, because I keep thinking about these courses and I keep playing with different WordPress setups. And at this point, I think I might just go with something like Thinkific or something, and just because I don't want to fuss with it anymore. And so just say, and I'm thinking about using it for the conferences as well, right? It's just, hey, look, you paid, here's how you get access to the videos.
A lot of the software as a service delivery platforms like that have Zapier integration, so you can kind of do whatever you want. Like you can use your
nice.
Right now I'm setting up, so we basically, I haven't talked about this,
MemberPress is how I've been getting paid before, and it'll hit Zapier and then
exactly
boom 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 boom.
Yeah, you can stick the files wherever you want. But so we are I've officially decided that not Thinkific, Thrivecart is not going to work for us.
Oh no!
So we're basically, I know.
You sounded so hopeful.
I know. So there's always like just some freaking thing. I have like the shopping cart. I've spent the past 15, 16 months of my life in this shopping cart purgatory where I've checked out probably at least a dozen of them, but Thrivecart was pretty great. I really liked almost everything about it. The problem was the way that they actually implemented the upsells is if you have to put JavaScript on. So the way that Zaxa did upsells was perfect. So they would give you a URL. So you buy the product, right? You check out on Zaxa.com, and then tell Zaxa after they buy this product, send them to such and such a page on Simple Programmer. And
Right.
then Zaxa, then you have a long form sales page with the offer, and then Zaxa gives you URLs that are either yes or no. And if they
Mm-hmm.
click the yes button, then it goes back to Zaxa and they get billed. If they click the
Right.
no, it goes back to Zaxa and it delivers the product. Like that's how I want it to work.
Right.
With Thrivecart, they don't give you links. What they give you is a JavaScript snippet. So the JavaScript
Uh,
snippet goes on your custom page, your upsell page. Then it has to talk to Zaxa or it has to talk to Thrivecart. And what we're finding is that a lot like it was buggy. Like people if it doesn't download all the shopping cart, like all the session information,
uh-huh.
then you don't see the yes and no buttons. And not only
Right.
that, but if they screw up, they never charged the correct person in the first place, so you lose the original sale. So like
Oh
we were
gosh.
having people going halfway, they were saying, yes, I will pay you $99. Yes, I will pay you $199. No,
No,
I
I don't
don't
want
want
that
this
one.
last thing, but I can't say no, so I'm just going to close my browser tab and walk away. So
Oh.
yeah, so it's basically, I mean, that was just kind of a deal breaker. So now I've just decided enough is enough, and we're moving to WooCommerce, so we're gonna own our own shopping cart, and um, so I've been working on that, and I've got it.
Yeah, but you can find WooCommerce developers, so if you
Yes,
really, really want a
exactly,
feature, you can just pay for it.
exactly. And there's plugins. WooCommerce is the WordPress of e-commerce. Like it runs in WordPress, but so it's
Mm-hmm.
confusing. But it's got plugins for everything. You
Yep.
can glue them together. I've actually been able. Spent 2 hours and did a little bit of WooCommerce development of my own this week to set up some of the um, conversion tracking that I want. So, it's hackable by us, and
Yep.
there's like so much documentation and how-to stuff out there. It's not even funny. So yeah, so I'm pretty much just gonna go. I think that with that, and it's gonna be painful to get it switched over, but in the end, I think that's going to be the best thing, and we're gonna own it at least, and we can hire somebody to help us smooth out any rough edges that we
Mm-hmm.
encounter, and um, so yeah. So anyway, but WooCommerce talks to Zapier, so you can
Right.
use
A
it
lot of them
to
do. So,
yeah. So you can use it. So I'm using WooCommerce. We're using WooCommerce on the front end to sell, and then we're using on a completely different WordPress instance, Digital Access Pass to manage the membership access and everything. So and we're connecting them up through Zapier. So
nice.
yeah,
Cool.
I'm just definitely
Yeah.
tired of shopping carts.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, I keep using MemberPress as my shopping cart, and it works okay,
Uh-huh.
but it doesn't do everything I need it to, and
Yeah.
I just don't want to go through that. I mean, I need it to work. I don't need to spend hours trying to figure out how to make it work the way I want. And
Yes.
so, um, anyway, so yeah, so I'm thinking about just using a software as a service kind of setup, and then just.
I think, I mean, for where you are,
But then if
that
I need something
probably
different later,
you can
I'll
just
move.
move it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, simple's better at this point.
Yeah, well, and I've gone through a couple of courses that are on Thinkific or whatever it's called. I don't remember. Like
Yeah.
Dave Thomas's Elixir courses on there and stuff,
Okay.
and it works fine. And I could
Right.
easily put the videos up, and there you go. So
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
think that's where I'm going to go with it. And yeah, people will just get invites to those systems. But
Yep.
anyway, I'm meeting somebody for lunch, so I need to start. I need to do thoughts and bug out of here.
All
We got
right.
started late. Sorry.
That's all right. Thoughts. Usually I have like a good 10 to 15 minutes while John does his to think about
Yeah,
this.
yeah, that's right. Drops a few F bombs.
Yeah. I mean,
Tell
I
yeah.
think like the big takeaway for me this week was about challenging assumptions, and not if not accepting like a good enough uh a good enough explanation of why something's going wrong. Like
Yeah.
I had spent quite a bit of time looking at that conversion problem, and I kind of had put my hands around the problem, but I hadn't quite gotten it all the way. Just I was just missing like one piece, and I got some outside input, and that challenged me to look at it in a new way. And it actually only took me about 10 minutes to figure out what was going on once I talked to Perry about it. But for some reason, like I'd spent hours on it before. Um, and I don't know, I think I was partially operating under the assumption that it was like this and he's like, no, like every time I've seen this happen, there's like one definite cause. You have to operate with the assumption that there is going to be one definite cause. Usually it's something technical that you changed or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I looked at it from that point of view, it was pretty easy to figure out what was going on. So,
Nice.
yep.
Yeah, I think my thought for this week is just, you know what? Sometimes the train just goes off the tracks. And I mean, I'm pretty good at complaining about it. But ultimately, and I swear I do the same kind of thought every week, but this is just where I'm at right now, and you know, we'll get her done. We'll figure it out. So, you just do what you got to do. And anyway, I mean, just keep trucking. Get a little bit better, a little bit at a time, and eventually you'll get where you want to be at. But yeah, the
Absolutely.
other thing that I'm also getting to is that the improvements to myself and the way that I do things are just as important as the improvements to the process and things like that.
Yes. Yeah.
And so as I improve, everything else gets better too. And
Yep.
so sometimes I lose sight of that and I just go frantically work on process, which isn't
Mhm.
necessarily a bad thing, but improving myself.
The process is a machine. What you're dropping into the process kind of comes out of you, right?
Yep,
So
yep, absolutely. And
almost
that's really it, right? Is that
right.
what the process is like the program, and the quality of the program or the quality of the process basically comes out of the person that I am and the things that I'm learning. And
Yep.
so if I'm not learning, then I'm basically hitting my head against the same wall over and over.
Yep.
So anyway,
All right. Have
well,
fun.
next week I will be in New York City.
Okay. Oh boy.
But I should be able to call in because the event is Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay. Cool.
So
Hopefully John will be here, or I'll just be talking to myself. So.
yeah. Well, no, I'll
Oh,
call
oh
in.
yeah. Yeah.
You'll get to see my awesome hotel room wherever we wind up staying.
All right. Very
All
good.
right. Well, yep. We will catch you next week.
All right. See you, Chuck.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.